right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Um, Jim Pierce, unmute yourself real quick. How intense was the 2 days of business planning?
Oh wow. I mean, it was at a whole nother level of just can't even explain it. My head, ever since we've been back, yeah, I got a question already, for you on the vertical evaluation. Like it was wow. It was a wow.
Okay, yeah, I love it. Thank you. Let's give him a fist bump. Three, two, one, boom. I was wondering how you guys were doing with it. You and Kevin. Kevin, maybe type in the chat bar. Is your brain stopped smoking yet? Um, Man, this business planning, I'm gonna tackle a bunch of stuff this morning with you guys. Um, so those of you that were not at, we did 2 days with the Alliance members, which those of you that filled out, Joe White and Lil. I heard you guys. I agree. All of you. We needed at least another half a day. We needed some individual time. Thank you for your feedback. We aim to improving it better every time. And also, we heard you guys about doing it multiple times a year. So we're already going to start planning the next one for you guys. So thank you for surveys matter, which you might as well write down a note because I didn't think about telling you. Every one of you should be surveying multiple people. So write this down real quick. You should be surveying your employees and asking them really, really good questions. I think we gave a bunch of you surveys to do. Matter of fact, you know what, Jim Pierce? You guys had a survey, and I never asked about it, but I also never got the results from it. So if you could compile those survey results from your team, those of you that did it, can you send it to me, please? Just send it to Megan or just chat it in the chat and I'll grab it so I could do an analysis of it. Number two, you should be so you're going to survey your employees, you should survey your customers. Now's the greatest time to get customers to buy from you. They're buying already. They buy Black Friday. They buy on Cyber Sunday and fucking small business. They're already buying, so they might as well buy more. So survey your clients for what they want to buy from you right now. Number three, are you guys keeping up with me today? Survey your vendors. Survey your vendors. How can we work better together? How can we work more strategic together? Um, hey, if there was something you could do to help us grow faster, if there was something you could do to help us become more profitable. Um, and Lil, thank you for the comment about my speaking ability. I just to let you guys know, I read every word of everything. I've read it twice. I read it a couple when it was done, and I read it this morning again. So thank you for that. My goal is not to stay good, but even become even better for everybody. The other thing that you should survey besides your vendors, you should survey your family. Like, get together with your family. I don't care how old they are and say, how do we want 2026 to be? What would you like to have more of? What would you like to have less of in our lives? What would we like to eat more of? What would we like to eat less of? So I would survey them. So this is a beautiful time to do it. You have a couple weeks to get it done because then I figured out the ascension of people that shut down. And tell me if you think this is true. Like, first off, attorneys are horrible right now. Like they're just all shutting down. And I'm like, Jim Pierce, I'm trying to close on this building, which those of you were in person, if you watched me in the corner with Mike Disney, if I looked real intense, like I was cursing a lot, I fucking was. You couldn't see it, Jim, because you were on Zoom. They should have showed you. Mike's over there cursing. And man, these attorneys are making it really fucking hard, really, really hard to get stuff done. So you have a couple weeks to get your surveys done to get out of the gate. Some health things that I'd love to make you aware of, because I'm on a huge longevity focus. One, if you haven't had a test, Jason, and Jason Kirby, house is looking good, man. Now we just got to get paint on those walls, brother. Get fucking paint going so I could get real excited about it. If you're not getting a test from, like, I think doctors are missing things. I think one doctor looks at one thing. And if I would tell you guys to optimize 2026, I would find a holistic doctor if I was you guys. Find a holistic doctor. Somebody that can look at everything and kind of be like your global advocate of longevity. I have one of those now, which I'm very happy that I have it. And she's a very small practice. So like she texted me, she's on the phone with me this morning, like exactly what I'm just like, there's the credit card. I'm like, I'm not the guy that wants an appointment every month. Like we'll do a short appointment and then we do a long appointment to a month. Longevity is the most important thing we could focus on. But if you haven't had a test, what's shown up inside of me was plastic. If some of you didn't hear that, my body shows that it has a high amount of plastic in it. And I just had an awakening yesterday talking to the doctor. And type in health if it's okay. I share this stuff because if we just make money together and we don't get healthy together, that means we're going to have a whole bunch of us be wealthy and then some of us are going to get sick and that's not going to be fun for any of us. So what I've done is I've eliminated plastic. I drank at it. You guys know, you've been in my world. I mean, how many times have you shown up a call? I always have a shaker cup. I've eliminated, my wife and I threw out every plastic shaker cup. And now, I'm not drinking out of plastic water bottles because when the doctor says your body's showing high plastic, I go, no shit, this isn't good. There's always a plan to remove it. So caution one, type in plastic if you drink out of a lot of plastic stuff. Type in the chat bar so I know. So you won't see me. I have no choice but to take it serious, Jason. No choice at all. I have to eliminate this from my body. Who even knew? BPA approved bottles. I don't fucking know. My next awakening, Michael's gonna maybe like and not like this one. Aaron, check this one out. So I was telling the person, the doctor, Dr. H, because I can't even say her full name, the woman. I said to her, oh shit, I've been getting IVs, vitamin IVs for sometimes minimum twice a month. And she said something that triggered, and I went, that vitamins, those Meyer cocktails, when they pump it in your body and they hang the bag, what's the bag made out of, everybody? Fucking plastic. Plastic. Jason, I'm sitting here going, holy shit, hooked up vitamins, posting pictures of me on Facebook. Look at me getting my vitamins. The liquid is stored in plastic. Well, there's going to have to be, now I'm not saying there's not a benefit to maybe doing it if you're real sick or something for hydration. Maybe it's a give and take, like a lot of life. It's a give and take. So just do me a favor. Take whatever I'm saying is serious. Let's try to eliminate plastic. The other thing is that showed up in my body. I don't know the exact name of it, bramium or bromium, one of these things. And the woman says, do you have water filtration? I'm like, come on now. I own a fucking plumbing company. I sold water filtration. Of course I got water filtration. I got it under the fucking sink. I got it on the fridge. I got it on the house. I got it everywhere. She says, okay, but that shit's coming from somewhere. So she gave me a link. If any of you are better experts than this, she said, go to drinkingwatertesting.com. And she said, go in there and pick a test. Now, me, I'm going to go in there and I don't give a shit if it's 5,000. I'm going to test the shit out of my water. I'm going to test through the filter, not in the filter, my fucking shower. I'm testing everything because why? I already know water is important, but how many times have you tested it after you put the system in? So I would tell you guys, maybe go check it out. And if you don't know, I have the filter. How do I know it's doing the job? What if they're sucking water out of the street down here, out of the ocean? I don't know. So there's my what's something you just took away from that for health for you? Type it in the chat bar. That's my little health coaching for all of you today there. That's my health coaching for you guys. All right, let's dig into a bunch of things I wanted to cover with you guys. And you're going to write fast, and we'll see if my team can keep up with this today. Um Note to self, always be learning. So this was a funny statement. I don't know about you guys, but one of the practices that we have here, hey Dave, nice to see you. Brendan, one of our practices is after every single Zoom call we have. Now our team is completely, virtual, but it was no different when we were in person. After every meeting, after every Zoom, um, we say what was best about that. So Dave Monk, you'll like what I said to them last night. So we did 2 days of intense alliance training. Then yesterday was Wednesday. We did fucking 7 hours of business planning for Food Dog with top experts. Um, I'll show you a picture because I'm actually building a social media post with it. So we did 2 hours of the 6 or 7 hours with these guys. This is $20,000 2 hour panel right there, baby. Right? That's throwing it out there. And then at 7 o'clock at night, I did a virtual boardroom for electricians and HVAC and drain cleaners and pretty much blue collar guys. And then today I have this. So last night I said a statement to the team. I said, protect me against me. That's what I said, uh, Dave Monk. I said, I need you guys to protect me against me because I'm the most deadliest person to myself. You can't go 2 days and then right into a day of planning and then right in a day of this. And then tomorrow I actually have a little back off time because I'm going to a special meal with my daughter to spend time with her and go to her foot doctor with her. But, I think all of you need someone to, and type in the chat bar if you need someone to protect you against you. Go ahead. Was that worthy to listen to? I mean, I need it. I need it. And I need them to tell me that's fucking makes no sense. Now, me listening is two different, that's a different story for another day. But at least if they tell me, do you know what you're going to do to yourself? Because my voice is still not back from the 2 full days, right? Because I've been driving my voice and you got to protect your voice. So take that and maybe put it into your, your planning that you have. We do have today. I'm really excited. I'm going to be handing it over when the person arrives today, and we have a Facebook person coming on, Dean Jackson's Facebook person. Are any of you running Meta ads? Type in Meta in the chat bar. Uh, I think every one of you should be running Meta ads, even if they're just reputation building Meta ads, even just to build your reputation, even if it's just market awareness. So, I'm bringing the person on to talk to you today. Aaron's going to have a great conversation. They're going to go, yeah, Meta for hiring. They're going to go back and forth. You should get your questions ready because we're killing it right now. We are dominating Meta ads, dominating it. Dave Coyle, we have 50 something people come into our free boardroom. Never been able to drive that by Meta in the past. We had 150 or 180 register for a free session last night, 90 minutes. 98% of the people stayed on for an hour and 45 minutes without me taking a pee break. Like we're breaking boundaries, but I don't want it to be about me. I want to bring the secret sauce to you. Aaron will facilitate, let you ask questions. And I want you, when you leave, to understand Meta. Now, we're also, what I think about for Meta ads is look, we fought against this. There's organic and non-organic, and we've been organic for a lot of years. Dean Jackson's not organic. He's like, I buy people. That's really what he does. He buys people. right? He buys people to come to you. So I think even if you want to, even if you have a Facebook group and you just want to build a fun group, I think you should run meta ads for it. You can control the budget. So there's my thing to excite you a little bit about what Aaron's going to do. We are getting ready to end our, we have a couple weeks left, right? We're going to end our 2025 theme. Team put a picture of it. It was domination. And if you felt you dominated a little bit of 2025, why don't you type in the word domination in the chat bar? I feel like we dominated. We learned a lot, we changed a lot, we dominated, and I watched you guys. I'm so proud of, man, you look at the growth. Not all of you have it, but a lot of you that focused, removed your excuses, no bullshit. You guys had a lot of growth through 2025, planning for 2026. We also have our theme for December. So team, if you'll throw that in there. And I love the theme. Just so you guys know, we follow the same themes for December that you guys have. We follow the same themes. That's what keeps us energized and motivated on it. So team, throw the picture in there. There you go. Conquer, own the finish line. Own the finish line. It ain't over. Well, I don't think it's appropriate that they say it ain't over till the fat lady sings. I mean, I don't, some of these things sound crude to me, but we have a one, two, three, what? Well, almost a whole month here. Almost a whole month. How many of you are just doubling down on every day for the rest of December? Type in double down. You're just all in the game. Um, we're all in on the game. We're all in on it. Why? Because I know that the majority of the world is actually slightly all out. They're going into vacation mode, holiday mode, and I love this time of year. I love starting when Thanksgiving because people go like this, and our marketing goes like this. Why? Because we're going to own 2026. So maybe a little tip for some of you guys. Some of you are coming December 9th. If you're coming December 9th, type in December 9th. It's a boardroom day in person. We're probably going to change the name because we're always learning and we have a virtual boardroom and an in-person boardroom, and bucket people are a little confused by that. So we'll change the name in the future, probably to Breakthrough Day with us. But if you're not coming and you want to jump in, jump in. We capped it at 60 people. We're almost there. You could watch how I facilitate a one day. We got it lean. We got it mean. We got it dialed in. The place is beautiful. So I also think that it's a great model for every company here to follow because like imagine if that was your, your recruiting day. What if your recruiting day, what if the way you recruited people, Lil, it didn't it didn't feel like recruiting. It felt like you were going to a holiday party to meet new friends. Like, how would that change your recruiting if it wasn't like, I'm going to see if you fit us, but I can't wait for you to meet us? Like, that's what I believe our hiring experiences were. And some of you might write down hiring experience if you don't do them well, because it is the number one time right now, probably in history, but time of year for recruiting. But what if you treated your recruiting as it was come and meet your new friends? And I think people are, and Dean Jackson's always on my ass about this, so I would write the words down. Um, Dean Jackson is always on my ass because I'm a very convincing person, and he's like, you got to be compelling. It's my Achilles tendon. Is that what they call it? My Achilles tendon is I'm good at convincing people, but I don't want to be that way. I want to compel people. So I think if you could do your recruiting ads and become compelling in nature, come meet us, right? Confidential in nature. If anything, just to see, I mean, I invited everybody. I didn't care if an owner of another company. Actually, we had owners come in there and they try to hide like they're wearing a baseball cap, like I don't know that's the owner of Bob's Plumbing in my fucking hiring experience, but I loved them. I was glad they were there. I hired some of the business owners because they wanted to get out. All are welcome. What if you just did that in your company? Like all are welcome. You know, we live in a world today where we're in such a profiled thing. We profile by belief systems. You like this president, not this one. We profile by religion. Oh, you're not a Christian, you're probably bad. Oh, you're Jewish, you might be good. Oh, you're this, right? We profile by that. We profile by industry. We profile by white collar and blue collar. We're like the most profiling fucking universe who acts like the one side is not the profiler, right? But what if it was like what was the show? I never really watched it a lot where everyone knows your name, right? Isn't that the culture you want? Where everyone knows your name. I mean, it was one of the things we worked on in all the cultures was make sure you know everybody. The CSR knew the service expert knew the warehouse guy knew the permit person. A company, here's a marketing position for you guys. I hope you guys will take it and run with it. Hey Monique, good morning. We're a company where everyone knows your name. Wouldn't that be just a fantastic promotion to do? So double down on your recruiting and your promotions there. We got Life Power coming up. I hope you're signed up for it. We have a kick-ass agenda over the 2 days. Invite everybody you want to it because it is Life Power. It's about holistically looking at everything. Invite your kids, invite your mom and dad, maybe throw a manager on there. You guys are all welcome to bring people. Oh, on December 9th, if you want to come and bring your manager with you. The 2 days of alliance planning was a blast because Jason and Aaron Birdsong, they brought Larry, and Joe and Lil, they bought Hunter. And everybody had somebody there with them, almost everybody, which made alignment and clarity well. And why don't you write that down as we move into 2026? Why don't you write down clarity and alignment? Clarity and alignment. Write that down. Because the more you have clarity and alignment with everybody, your family and your kids and your team, the faster you guys are going to go there. The faster you guys are going to go. Okay, so let's go in. I wrote a whole bunch of things and it's fresh on my mind because I'm doing it for me. I did it for Alliance and I want to give you the action items to do for yourself. So if you have questions about it, I'm going to leave a little bit of time. Jim Pierce, whatever questions I don't get to, I will be on Momentum today. I'll be on Momentum today. Oh, that's a good just because I was looking at my schedule here. And before I come to Momentum, I'm all about convenience and time. So one more last health thing. I don't like to lose any time and I don't like to travel to places that I don't have to. So Jen and I have a virtual trainer now, which we're pretty excited about. We hired them. We interviewed 3 or 4 personal trainers. We hired one who's very good on understanding how to not cause injury. So any of you that looking to get healthy personally, and they're like, do you have equipment? I'm like, fuck, are you kidding me? I have a dojo in our house. We got some equipment, man. So any of you that are thinking it's hard to get healthier, man, there's just amazing virtual trainers all over the world. I went through a specific company that found me this person and boom, you jump on Zoom, do it with them, and then use your own shower and don't worry about getting COVID and shit. I know some people like to go to places and that's cool for you. Me, I got to squeeze it in the time. Squeeze it in the time. All right, here's the order. Let's do it. Let's do it. First thing, business SWOT. Write it down. Make sure you're doing it. Business SWOT. Make sure you do strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats every single area of your company. I also think you should do a business SWOT on yourself. Okay. What is your strength? What is your weakness? What is your opportunity? And why are you a threat? I already shared why I'm a threat. My team is to protect me against me. I'm a threat in many ways. Ultra creative. It's the visionary destroyer, right? I bet some of you are visionary destroyers. Always another fucking idea, and really you suck at the thing that's most important, but you have another good idea, which really justifies the suckiness, allows you to move past it quicker. So I'm a visionary destroyer. So I work harder and harder to keep controlling that there. Okay. Next thing, brand audit. As I look around the screen, most of you, your brands are a little diluted, a little old. They maybe you need a temporary widget. The good thing about if you own fleets of trucks and wraps, if you just put, if you just go to the wrap company and get a big red ribbon and that cost you maybe 25 bucks and just stuck it on the vehicle and after the holidays pulled it off, you would get a boost in marketing overnight, just like that. Just like that. So, because if they see your truck or your vehicle or your business sign over and over and over again, your goal is how do I create eyeballs to give me another second again? Okay. So, make sure you do your brand audit. And I would compare your brand audit against all the other brands in your market today. What's making you different? What's making you competitive in nature? I talked about this over a couple days. People just look the same. If you're a service company, like everybody's saying, get a furnace at 10% off. That's like fucking horrible. It's baby food. Everybody's saying a water heater, electrical panel. There's no good copy, no compellingness, and everybody's fucking digital ads are saying the same damn thing. So as you do your brand audit, I would challenge all the agencies that you work with and say to them, what is making me so different than everyone else in the market today? What's making my digital ads different? What's making my position different? Matter of fact, what strategic copy did you use in my ad to make me the champion? Now, a lot of agencies are working with multiple people in the same market. They're working with multiple people and say, so you got to say that's fine, but I need us to be very different in nature. So you got to do a brand audit. Risk analysis. You got to do risk analysis. What are the risks for the end of the year? A good person quits. Someone wants more money and maybe you don't have the money. A risk analysis, you're getting in your own way. You're so consumed by one thing, you're not focusing on the other. It could be a risk analysis of 2026. What happens? Maybe there's a weather pattern, a political pattern, an economical pattern. So, you need to do risk assessment. Are you at risk for insurance? Are you in a partnership that's risks? I watch a lot of people do very, very stupid partnerships. They fall apart quickly. They don't last long. Someone gets abused and taken advantage of. Is there a risk with your banking that you're using, the credit card you're using, the merchant account that you're using? Is there a risk in your software that you use? Is there a risk in your backup system? There's no additional backup system. Is there a risk in cybersecurity? So you guys got to really deep dive risk in as many areas as you can. Do a marketing channel evaluation. If you have less than 10 strategic marketing vehicles, you're at risk. Most people today have 80%, if not more, on digital presence. That is very bad to do. Unless you have pools of money to spit into the wind, you need to be marketing diversified. Okay. And with the marketing channels that you use, you have to ask yourself, why are you different? But also, how do they work with each other? So let me pause there a minute, because every marketing vehicle should stack on top of the other marketing vehicle, not run in a silo. So if you're doing direct mail, or you're doing meta ads, or you're doing Google ads, or you're doing SEO, it should be looked at as a theme, okay? And it should be connected together. And a lot of you are throwing different ads, different positioning, and it doesn't tell a story, a storyline. You know, the good thing about like Netflix is like, well, we're watching Landman and we watch a Tracker and we watch Tulsa, and my wife and I rotate through these things. The good thing about it is you could kind of jump into the story almost anywhere and still go for a good ride, right? But your marketing, you jump in and you see a part of the train and then you're back off. So there's no continuing what we would call a marketing through line. All right, let's pause there a minute real quick. Tell me which one of those is standing out for you right now. Look at your list real quick and type in one or two things that are standing out for you right now. SWOT, yep. Need more marketing channels, 100%. Marketing channels due to business and personal SWOT. Personal trainer, yep. Marketing through line, personal SWOT, SWOT better. Okay, perfect. Can you handle me longer till we get our speaker in? Just say yes if you could handle more of me, because I have a lot more. And I went through so my planning sheet that we do, it takes just so you guys know what kind of planning you should take. It takes at least 60 to 75 hours of time to do strategic planning, right? I mean, we did whatever 16 or 18 hours over 2 days with the Lions guys, and they still got a lot more to polish the thing. And it normally is, when you're done with your plan, it's probably about a 40 something page domination blueprint, delegated per department, per person, per action, with KPIs attached to every initiative. And it's built into a tracking platform like either Teamwork or something, with milestones, quarterly actions, you know. So make sure you're doing the real due diligence that it takes to be really, really successful. Most people, I found out something today. Um, I deal with this thing because I have a captive. Some of you heard about it. And the problem is a captive, it's like you own your own insurance company. Money is in a special account, but I'm trying to get money from one account to another account. Now, I keep saying, everybody, you know, I keep asking for a solution, and sometimes I don't get an answer. So I started to answer some things myself so I could ask Matt Formica, so I could ask a better question. I was just giving everybody a problem, but I needed to ask people a better question. So I said to them, I went in AI, I asked a question. I said, is this a possibility? Is this a possibility? Because remember, people only know the possibilities based on knowing every single thing. Is financing, is taking leveraged money off my home a possibility? Is selling a car I don't need, is that a possibility? Is selling material I don't need, is that a possibility? See, people want to win without sacrifice sometimes. And if you could write a phrase down, I think the phrase to write down is sacrifice. Not to have less forever, to have less only for a moment, to have more ever. But we'll focus on little bits of time, hoping for maximum return. We'll do things that waste time, that steal us from maximum return. And so as you're sitting there, I would really ask yourself, and I do think, would I sacrifice my health for wealth? No, I would not. Would I find a balance to it? Hell yeah, I would. I would find a balance to it, right? And I would find the most efficient balance, which brings me to a thing. You should write down the term bartering. Bartering. Bartering is a superpower for a lot of you guys going into, actually it's if you look at, survival of the world, and the preppers world, bartering is the old school big thing, right? Is bartering, right? How do I give one thing to somebody else to get, equal, what we call fair exchange? Write down that word, fair exchange. You know, the world, as long as everything feels like fair exchange. Hey, Eagle, welcome back to your home tribe there. Welcome back. If you do things in fair exchange, that means you pay a team member and they equally give the deliverable that you need. So bartering is a big thing for you guys for solutions going into 2026. Let's go back to my list. You now need to do a competitor audit and a competitor SWOT. Only if you want more faster. The competitor audit is what are all the competitors in my market? The competitor SWOT is what is the thing I don't see, right? What's the thing I don't see, the thing I can leverage. I'm always looking for my competitor SWOT. And if you I know it's easy to admire what the outcome I had. I would rather you admire the energy and effort that it took to get to what I did than to actually admire the outcome. The outcome's immaterial. It really is. Building a $32 million, fucking immaterial. What it takes to build the outcome, the strategy, the tactical thinking, what you have right here, what you could ask us questions for. How do I look? My competitor is twice my size and they have a better warranty. What do I do? Well, then we go into strategy for that. We look at what's the position nobody's saying. Is warranty alone all you care? Of course they need a lot. Look, I could play both sides. Of course they need if you give a large warranty. The shit probably breaks all the time. We don't need a warranty that's lifetime. Our shit never breaks, right? Look at the I could play both sides of the fence in any realm of any marketing. But I can only do that. I can only use that. Oh, that's interesting, Dave. I heard of that. I'm going to write that down. I haven't seen that in a long time, but I've heard about that before. Thank you for everybody say thank you to Dave for posting that. That's a great reminder for me. Thank you for that. That was worth the price of admission reminder there, Dave, for everybody that came. So when you look at the SWOT of the competitor, you only need one good message to get double the leads you're getting from the same cost of marketing. One good message to get double the amount of people wanting to work for you. The next thing task for you guys to write down as you're planning is an evaluation of each person in your company. Each person. So each employee, salesperson, if you have people that answer the phones, if you have chat people, if you have outbounders, if you have bookkeepers, go through every aspect of the organizational chart and rate and rank everybody on it. Now, I think KPIs are important, but I'm not a big EOS fan. I did it probably 18 or 15 years ago, EOS and their integrator. I did some of that stuff. I found out that it wasn't scalable to the size. So I never used one theory. I used Zell's theory. I took stuff from Cameron Harold. I took stuff from Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. I took things from EOS. I took things from the Rockefeller habits and I built a system to solve the weakness in every system because what people do is they take on a system, right? They take on a system, and I'll get back to the evaluating people. They take on a system like EOS, but they never ask where's the hole in the system. And my job is always to fill the hole. And then I create a system that's scalable because everybody's missing one little piece of things, right? But do an evaluation of everybody. But the EOS side I did like was gets it, wants it, and capacity to do it. And I think all of you, if you probably run a filter through everybody in your company and say, do they get what we're doing here? Do they get it? And I bet most of you find someone that doesn't get it. Is that true? Type in true. Or like, you're probably way better than me, way better than me. But I mean, in this year, not right now, but the beginning of this year, I had people that didn't get it on my team. They didn't get it. The second part is wants it. Wants it. Well, if they want it, that's willingness, that's effort. And I think it's important to rate your people against want it. The third part is the capacity to do it. Did you ever have somebody with extreme motivation and just not the skill set? Motivation without skill set, if that motivation never can get to the skill set, what you have is a happy employee you're afraid to let go of because they make you feel good even though they don't get you the result. That's not the best place to be, guys. And I'm not, people are not expendable to me. I'm I never fired anybody. I've relocated a lot of people to a bigger and better future. I've never fired anybody. I allowed them to either relocate themselves or I relocated them to a bigger, better future. Because it's also delusion to think you're the best solution for every human that works for you forever. I think that's crazy thinking. So make sure you evaluate everybody there. Then you have to build your new org chart. This seems to be the next Achilles tendon for people. The fastest way to build an org chart, everybody, is take a proven org chart model, modify it, and run it. I look at it very logical, and it's won over decades. Marketing, sales, operations, financing, right? I mean, there's these verticals. And if you just use the template, your name might be in a lot of stuff, but you need a formal structure, not even for the people, for your own mind, for your own mind. So make sure you have that organizational structure. Team, I see Jenna was coming in. Let her in, please, if you guys see it. Make sure that you have that structure there. All right. The next thing, which I think Jim had a question of, is evaluate the verticals, and evaluate all the products that you sell to the market today. Because what happens is, and I think this was a big awakening for Kevin Hughes, and probably Pernilla, right? A lot of energy on something that gives little money but big profit, versus what if we take the big money thing and if we put the profit there, that's a cash cow. So you have to examine your verticals inside your business, the core vertical of what you sell, the secondary vehicle, and ask yourself, are you Apple from decades and decades ago, right? How did Steve Jobs improve Apple? By adding more products or removing? Tell me, type it in the chat bar. He removed products because they were so fat on things they couldn't focus enough. So my question for you is, do a complete examination of every vertical inside your company, every product you sell. Now, the other thing is, don't be so stuck on the product you're ignorant to improvement. So those of you that know electrical, I was a Cutler hammer, a square D person. Anybody know square D, what it is? Raise your hand. Square D? Okay, a lot of you guys know square D. Okay. I was so loyal, Gary, to the bone. I like literally almost tattooed square D on my chest. But someone came to me and said, Cutler hammer, they said to me, I think you're being foolish not looking at them. Don't look at them for price difference. Look at them for quality. Now, there's a good point to this, and you should consider this. Now, I'm a Mortal Kombat child, right? You know the game Mortal Kombat? Now they're way more intense than I could handle playing a game. But Mortal Kombat, I'm like, invite everybody to the party. Invite everybody to the party. So, Anthony, you know what I did? I invited Square D and Cutler Hammer in the room at the same time. I had them set up 2 tables and I gave them each a chance to pitch against each other. And they would go, Square D, it has this brand and da-da-da. And then Cutler Hammer would say, we got this lifelong bus and da-da-da. And in the end, I made them bring gifts and food for everybody and screwdrivers and shit. And I said, thank you to both of them. They left. And then I said, what's the vote? What do you think happened, David? We went to Cutler Hammer after decades of loyalty. Why? They became better. Now, I'm not here to debate brands with you guys. I'm here to make a point on the strategy. Are you so stuck in one thing? You know why? And I think this applies to products and manufacturers. People get so stuck in one manufacturer, but there's a reason why there's a Cadillac on the lot and a Range Rover and a Jaguar, because you know what? Different brands have different things for different people. So did I never use Square D again? No, I did. But the lion's share went to one and the other one was backup, and it starts with a D. What is it? Type in the chat bar. It gave me diversification. It also gave me buying power. It gave me lack of. Now, what happened with a lot of people during COVID? Not all manufacturers are created equal. So one manufacturer runs out of product and you have no other connection. What happened to you? You sell cabinets, you have one cabinet maker, that shit goes down. You're scrambling, you're begging. You now got to go in the cabinet business and try to make it yourself. So I do believe as we go into 2026, part of your business plan should be definitely reviewing verticals of business, whatever you do, and also product you have to look at, and you have to start to protect yourselves. Yeah, I had to start using this. Yeah, because otherwise, if one goes out, and so many of you are still stuck in the, anything of one is dangerous. Anything of one is dangerous. Also, any any one person could be dangerous, because if you have a person that's negative, do any of you have an employee or a team member? Don't say it if they're on here, please, for God's sakes. But you know that you're motivating the team, and when you leave the meeting, they're chipping out the foundation. Don't listen to him. Don't do this. Why are we doing that? And I'll tell you what, if you don't pay attention to that anything of one or the one can destroy your organization. So focus on that as we go into 2026. All right, I'm going to give you a bunch more, and then I'm going to ask you what your top ones here are. The next thing is you have to definitely categorize your list of initiatives and what they're going to do. So here's strategies. I think we already talked about marketing strategies. Now, there's probably over 1,000 different marketing strategies you could put into your business, and I'm probably being conservative at that. But there's definitely, if I go back to me scaling Gold Medal and I ran the marketing side there, I had an average of probably 30 to 50 marketing strategies that went out. And I took the budget and diversified it so that it just created a web. Now I counted all of them: yard sign, door knockers delivered by other companies, referral systems, right? Everybody should have a referral system going into the new year if you don't have a good enough one. There was marketing, different strategic holiday marketing. We did marketing initiatives where we invited people to our building. We did like webinar masterclass initiatives. Like, you need that if you want to scale and scale more affordable. Because remember, anything you're sold in one bracket has risk and also cost. So make sure you're building out your initiatives there. The other thing is operational strategies. Operational strategies. Operational strategies are how many ways can you optimize? Now, what's his name had it right. He wrote the book, Ari Meisel. He wrote a bunch of books. Some of you, if you know Ari, type in Ari. He's like a Cervantes guy. He's so brilliantly smart. And Ari said, Meisel said, optimize, automate, outsource. Optimize, automate, outsource. I still think those three things apply today. People are trying to AI what they did not optimize first. And AI will rarely optimize what you created out of your own weakest skill. If you could optimize, like if you are on the phone, and it's interesting because yesterday on our roundtable of all those smart people, the one thing a bunch of them agreed to is don't automate out your personal connection to who's buying from you. And a lot of people are automating it out, right? They're automating their call center out, and they're at the sacrifice of human connection. But the superpower for all of you is actually you should make AI in the public for your company. My thing is I would make AI the enemy and you the hero in the public size. Behind the scenes, leverage it for what you want. But what I would say is a competitive advantage is we answer real people, real time, we answer the phone. That's what people want. And that's going to combat against AI answering phones. Now, look, I'm not against leveraging AI for answering phones at nighttime, and I'm not against automated voice shots and stuff. What I am against is anything that's diluting your connection below 80% connection point. So if you write down 80-20 rule, I think you could 20% right now. You could leverage lack of connection, and 80% better be real connection, real connection. But on the operational strategy side, ask yourself operational wise, what should I optimize? What should I automate? Which AI will help automate things, but what should you outsource? Now, any of you that want to scale a company to wealth and you want to exit it and sell it someday, you want to definitely outsource shit that you should not be doing yourself. Why? There's protection in it, right? I believe, and I think Mary and Gary, they do it, and I hear a lot of great feedback from them from Outbound 360. I'm a big fan of that because when you exit, guess what? You're like, there's protection. If Mary has a CSR get sick, it's Mary's job to fucking get someone on the phone, not my phone. If I have two CSRs, one gets sick, I'm the owner's got a problem. You're losing capacity by lack of having that system in place. So I'm a big advocate, and Mary and Gary know that because we worked on that years ago together. And I'm so proud that brand is like, it's not a baby no more. It's a big thing that they have there for outbounding and inbounding and stuff. So I have proud moments all the time when I think about that. But, you know, if you look at it, what else should you outsource? Could you outsource material handling? Could you outsource your text messaging? Could you outsource your marketing? When somebody comes to value your business, they don't devalue it by what's outsourced. They don't. They a lot of times value it more because there's low risk. Low risk. I know it because I've done it multiple exits of my own. So the formula seems to be proven out pretty well. Okay, you then have to have a whole bunch of strategies on the sales strategies. So if you just put a simple initiative, ready? And I think Jay Abraham built this, right? If you could get 10% more customers next year than this year, if you could get your existing customers to buy 10% more, right? So you get 10% more customers, you get them to buy 10% more, you start to really stack up results there. And then you could apply that 10 if you just got 10% of your customers to refer you more, just 10% referring you more, everything will change. You could actually spend less and make more. And if you could get 10% more conversion, everything changes. And 10% more on top of your average transaction. So I think if you guys want an initiative to put into your company, why don't you just like do like the 10-10-10 rule or something? Why don't you create like something or 10x times 4? We're going to 10, our focus is going to be, now you got to measure it. You got to measure it. You can't improve what you're not measuring. People try to give me lip service. I feel everybody's cheap. I feel nobody calls. I'm like, it's got to be measurable. It's got to be measurable. But I think if you go out there with a 10-10-10 rule of some kind, I think that's going to be very valuable to you, and that could be your initiative. And then you track it and you're going to get results. The last one, and I see our speakers coming in, so I will be right at 12 sharp. Our last one is service strategies, right? Service strategies. How do we go about and raise our level of service delivery? If you're not getting at least, like, people measure repeat business, and a lot of companies are probably, I bet if you guessed, what's your percentage of repeat business? I bet most of you are 60 to 70%. Tell me if I'm correct there. I bet you're close to that. Maybe some of you a little more, but I bet it's 60 to 70%. Okay. Repeat business. Of course, if you're MRR, it's repeat business 100%. Yeah, so 70, 80%. But so what is your tracked referral percentage right now? You probably don't know it. But if you could go, you might call it new customers, but you got to quantify new as referred versus how did they end up in your world. If you could give yourself 70%, maintain that on your repeat business, and if you could get a 10 or 15% referral, tell me what will happen to your cost of marketing. Now, everybody you're paying for marketing, let me let Lacey in here. Everybody you're paying for marketing, the number one thing your agencies or whoever you're working with should say to you is, my first initiative is how to get more out of what you're getting. How are you marketing your email list? My second initiative is, once we tap the well, how do we get the well to tell another well to buy from you? That's number 2 initiative. So if you're not running emails and outbound and text mess referral initiatives, you're wasting money, and it's lowering your profit, and it's giving you stress you don't need. And every one of you probably, I know the size of your companies, could add at least an additional $500 to $1 million by adding in a referral initiative. Instead of just going, people refer me, I want to go, how, why, when, what made you refer us? What was the one action that you heard or saw us do? And what moment did you say to yourself, I will refer you from this day moving forward? If you don't have that understanding from your customer, you don't have a referral initiative. All right, it's 11:59. Those of you not on screen, I'd love for you to get on screen. Hey, a bunch of you that been in my world a long time, say hello in the chat bar to Jenna Zadati. Hey, Jenna. Jenna Zadati is my business partner at Gold Medal and CEO Warrior, and we own buildings together. Okay, don't embarrass her that much by putting her on thing there.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Jenna, nice to see you. She won't want to come on again. She'll be telling her dad he stuck me on the fucking screen and shit. She's here today because she's really, really smart, and I know her actually before she was born, and she's coming here to learn about Facebook stuff because she's really smart and works for a cool company. So if you see her on here, you all could say hello to her. All right, it is now 12 o'clock sharp Eastern time. And we have an incredible, great person, Lacey, who's coming on today. And hey, Lacey, nice to see you. Good morning.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. She's one of our secret weapons. And all of you know Aaron, who's Jen and I's business partner and brilliant. And he's been doing like burpees and jumping jacks because he's going to facilitate this with Lacey. Because to be upfront with all of you, they are both way, way, way smarter than me. I cause them more problems than good. So, hey, I'll see the rest of you on Momentum. If you need me, you text me. I do have some tasks for some of you I'm working on. Otherwise, Aaron and Lacey, have a great time. Aaron, I'm going to make you hostess on the mostess.
Yeah, sounds good.
Take it away. Have a great time, everybody.
Cool. Awesome. Great to see everyone. I didn't test my mic before, but if you can hear my mic, let me know in the chat bar. I just got a new mic, so the possibility. Okay, great. Someone can hear me. Megan can hear me. I'm going to keep going. Mike is good, says David. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, everyone. Welcome to this session of the legacy call. I'm really excited about it. I have been looking forward to this call for a while. We got some more people coming in, and Mike asked. He did a quick informal poll at the very beginning of the call, but not all of you were on at that time. So let me just ask one more time, and if you already answered, just answer again. And that is, I'm curious how many people here are doing meta ads. If you are, put meta. If you're not, put no. If you're thinking about it but not doing it yet, put thinking about it, maybe. All right. So yeah, let's see here. So we got a whole bunch of, so Lacey, you can see here, we got a few no's, we got a lot of metas, a lot of yeses, and a couple thinking about it. Good. All right.
I do see that, yeah.
Good. Okay, great. But I want everyone to know here that this, even if you're not doing meta ads and you have, it's not a goal of yours to do it, please still stick around, because I promise you there's going to be a lot of value here for anyone, even those who aren't doing meta ads. Maybe you're doing some other kind of ad. Maybe you're doing, you'll do something else that's like another pay-per-click type of ad, or maybe even just some kind of offer. And I think there's going to be really, really great insight here. Yeah, Monique is working on it. Okay, good. So we got a whole bunch of people here who are or thinking about it. And then Lacey, we'll just make sure that we can keep it focused on meta, but if there is ever, a conversation, we can just make sure we're adding it in for other people who aren't, but maybe they're doing something else. I think there's going to be a lot of value. So everyone here,
the concepts are all the same. So
yeah, exactly. So let me introduce Lacey here, but I'm going to start by going back like a very long time. My own experience with Facebook ads before they called them Meta. My own experience with Facebook ads is oh man, easily over a decade ago. You guys know I was running a marketing and consulting agency, and I was, clicking buttons like a maniac and trying to figure out meta ads as best as I could. And I struggled a little bit, stumbled a lot, and they worked okay for me. And then I went on to work with Mike at CEO Warrior. We did some ads there. And then when we started Food Dog Group, we did some ads, and over the time we worked with a bunch of different ad people. Sometimes it was me, other times it was other different experts. Some of you know about, some of them you don't know about. And over time, to be frank, we didn't nail our ads. We really struggled with them. So sometimes we would have ads that didn't land at all. Like it seemed like no one seemed to see them, or if they did, they didn't click on them. Other times we'd run ads and we get a whole bunch of people, but they were not the right fit of people, and it was frustrating. And we spent a lot of money over the years, And Mike and I, we hired expert after expert, or so we heard or believed. And people came, referred to us, and we worked with a bunch of people. And even people that we had some success with doing meta ads at CEO Warrior, they couldn't replicate it for us at Food Dog. And we're like, okay, what are we doing wrong here? And so we just kept trying, just kept chipping away. If you know Mike and I, you know that we are relentless in that regard. And anyway, right around, let me see, I think it was the summer, Lacey, where I first met you, and I'm sure Mike was having conversations with Dean before that. So it was somewhere in the summer that Dean Jackson, if I remembering the part that I wasn't involved with, I believe Dean Jackson, who Lacey works with, she can talk more about that in a second. So Dean maybe introduced us to Lacey. Lacey and I jumped on a call, and we went through our ads, and I got a ton of insight from Lacey. And the ads we were running at the time, to be perfectly blunt, they sucked. They were like from an old expert we were working with. They weren't performing. And she's like, well, you can do this and this and this, but you really need to fix this and this and this. And I had a huge list of things that I had to repair and rebuild. And I had it was no shortage of things for me to do. It was an incredibly valuable call. I still remember it pretty clearly. And then we actually had a couple other calls over the time, from the summer to I think October. I think we had another 1 or 2 calls at least. And basically, Lacey saw over time how we evolved a bit. We were running these ads to webinars or master classes that we were doing. We weren't getting great results, and they weren't great fit. We were running ads to ebooks or like reports, and similarly, we were getting people, but they weren't a great fit. And over time, you guys have all seen us evolve as well. And you know now, as Mike mentioned earlier today, that we are running ads now to what we're calling Boardroom, which is like if it's online, it's like a 90-minute thing for electricians, plumbers, and HVAC contractors. If it's in person, it's for any business owner in New Jersey and surrounding area, and so we are running ads to those, and we are seeing results that we have never experienced before. Perfectly targeted people, amazingly targeted people, great cost, like a cost to bring people in, and like really, really great targeted people who are right fit for us. And we're seeing them like interact with the ad, show up in our database, and then show up to Boardroom. And so it's been really great to see things finally land. And I would attribute a lot of that to Lacey sitting here in front of you guys today. And so we're going to ask some great questions. Lacey, while I said all that because I wanted to give them a context of how you came into our world, but now I'd love to get like a 2-minute, who are you, what do you do, how do you do it, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is thrilling for me because we haven't talked since the last round of edits you made. So
Yeah.
happy to hear that the results are even better this time, but can't wait to dig into that. But as for me personally, we did meet through Dean Jackson. And Dean Jackson, for those of you who maybe don't know him, is a marketing consultant. He made his name in real estate with real estate marketing, but now he does it for all verticals. And Dean and I met when I was the marketing director for a franchise organization called the Mosquito Authority, and we worked with him on some lead generation and conversion. And we really hit it off. So when it was time for me to move on, we stayed in touch, and that's what we do together is we take the ideas and his breakthrough blueprint strategy, and we implement those for his coaching and consulting clients. So this is the most fun part of that job. And it's the one where you get the most immediate results. So it's the one that all the clients are most interested in. But I've been doing this a really long time. I too remember Facebook advertising in the very early days when you didn't have as many choices, but you got to be really, in control of everything and to see how it changes every day. You go into Facebook today, it's going to look totally different tomorrow. So it's very overwhelming, I think, for a lot of folks, especially trying to do it yourself. But I think the challenge is figuring out what you know, right? You know who you want to target, you know what your message is, figuring how to translate that into the Facebook world and how Facebook presents it is the hardest part. So, not as complicated as it sounds. But I didn't prepare anything for an agenda. I just want to be able for folks to ask their own questions, and we'll see where that takes us.
Good. I've got just so everyone knows the lay of the land here. I've got an agenda. So we're going to work together and chat until about 10 minutes to the top of the hour. So 11:50 my time. I think it's 12:50 Eastern. And then we'll let Lacey go. We'll kind of recap and talk about some last action steps, and then we'll be done by the top of the hour. And Lacey, I do have a bit of an agenda, but I also want to take some time for people to ask questions. So everyone, do me a favor, gather your questions as you're listening, write them down, throw them in chat. Someone did private message me their question, and I will remember that, but please don't private message me your questions. Put them in public chat because other people might have those same questions. And then also that helps Megan to back me up and make sure she's gathering the questions so that I don't miss them and I don't want to be scrolling later. So we will set aside some time for questions. The first question that I want to ask you, though, Lacey, might seem like a really basic question, and it might be an eye roller for some people on the call, but it's an important question because I think it will expand people's mind. And that is, when we say meta ads, what are we talking about? It's Facebook, but it's also what else? It's Instagram. It's not just the stuff you see on your feed when you're scrolling. What are meta ads?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't think it's too basic. I think people don't understand that, Meta is Instagram and it's Facebook, but within Instagram and Facebook, you have so many options for placements. So you can go into Reels, you can go onto feeds, you can be in messages, you can be in the search, you can also be on Marketplace. So I think it's really important to understand that within both of those kind of platforms, you have so many opportunities to be seen. And it really does matter when you go through, the campaign portion of your ads that you select the right placements. So to me, it is kind of all encompassed when you say Facebook and Instagram. But it also, and there are also third party options, right? Where Facebook and Instagram can show your ad on third party pages. My recommendation is that you never do that. So I don't think of it that way. But if you just leave it on the default, then you're going to get shown in every single way people use Facebook and Instagram, from, like I said, messages to their, regular feed to Reels. But you're also going to be shown on third-party sites that Facebook or Meta uses to promote their own advertisers.
Yeah, great. And that was a big insight that I think we had a conversation with you or maybe Dean. We're always talking about this, so I it might have been a conversation with both of you, and that is, I'll give you guys a perfect example of you can target where you want. So we tend to use here at Food Dog, we tend to show up in people's feeds, which is typically where we want to show up. And we don't really see a point to showing up in Marketplace. People aren't going to Marketplace for business coaching, but there are some of you here who sell something that your customers might actually be in Marketplace looking around. And I'm not saying this is exactly the thing, but here's an example. Maybe you are in residential HVAC or something like that, and you know that a lot of your customers are homeowners who might be scrolling through Marketplace all the time because they're looking for like a new couch or like get rid of their barbecue or something like that, and they're thinking about their home. And so perhaps it makes sense for you to be targeting in Marketplace because you've got, something that's home related versus, let me see, who else is on here? Andrea, who might offer some kind of like, like therapy and some kind of coaching. Maybe that makes sense in Marketplace, but maybe it doesn't make sense in Marketplace. So you can pick and choose and consider what your customers are thinking about. So I think that's an important thing. Thank you for that. Another thing that Lacey was really good at pointing out to me is like it. I tended to think of ads typically of what you guys see of like text plus an image, but it's more than that, right? There is also video, and there's something called dynamic ads, which we're using a lot right now and working really well for us. And Lacey, I'll pitch it over to you in 1 second here, but we're using dynamic ads, which is basically, and I'm really like talking at a high level here. We upload 10 images and a handful of, I think we might be using 5, but a handful of ads, and Facebook just mixes and matches them and sees which ones are the ones that result in the best result. And so we don't have to pick this picture and this ad, or this picture and this text. I mean, Facebook does all the magic in the background. We just upload a bunch of each, and Facebook does its work. And it's been working really well for us too. We're really, really happy with that. So, Lacey, I'm saying it's text, it's images, it's video. Is that good? Is there anything else that you'd think might be applicable to this conversation?
Yeah, I think you just have to remember that no one knows your target audience better than you. So we don't want to use Facebook's Advantage Plus, for example, to let them select who your target audience is.
Yeah.
But nobody knows everybody on Facebook better than Facebook, better than Meta, right? So their tools for A, B, C, D, E, F, G testing in this case, right? Not just A/B testing, but to test all of this stuff with the algorithm is so much more powerful than anything that we could do. So use the Facebook tools that they offer with things like dynamic creative in that way, but don't necessarily use it to allow them to expand an audience that you've already targeted, or to change your words around in your advertisement, right? To make it say something different that doesn't match your tone, or use the exact words that you've decided are most impactful to your target audience. So I think that the point that I would like to make there is that Target has some Meta has some very powerful tools. You just have to use the right ones for the right things.
That's good. Let's dig into that for a second, because in my mind, an ad is not just the thing we're putting uh, on Facebook, on Meta, but there's really a couple different pieces, and I think you helped us see this, Lacey. And it's your, of course, it's the ad creative, but it's also who you're targeting and the offer. And I tend to think of it in those three categories. Maybe Lacey has a different categorization, but I would say it's those three things. And Lacey, what I'd like from you, just at like a real basic level, what are a couple of tips that you might have for the offer piece, the targeting piece, which you're already talking about, and then the ad piece? How might you give them some tips to kind of think about like what they should be doing in those three ways?
Yeah, I think about it exactly the same way. I find that the campaign is that offer, right? Kind of. And then the ad set is the targeting, and the ad itself is that messaging and creative. So it's very easy to think of it that way because that's how Facebook, organizes it for you. But as far as the offer goes, just remember that getting their information is key, right? So if you can, pick a type of ad and an offer that a lead magnet of some kind that allows you to collect their information. And one note on that is that lead ads are king. If you can use a Facebook lead ad, that's really helpful. It does convert at a higher rate as far as lead gathering is concerned, lead generation. However, you have to be careful because it is easily pre-filled, right? And people can just go through and click through it. So the tip is to add a non-fillable question, right? To add something other than name, phone, and email that they actually have to fill in themselves, that their computer or their phone is not going to fill in for them if you're using that kind of ad. You guys have a lot of great results with sending them off Facebook and taking them to a landing page. That is possible too, but you just have to make sure that your offer is such that you can collect their information so that you can stay in contact with them, right? So that pretty much eliminates click-through ads that focus on just sending somebody to a website with no specific offer. It just eliminates a lot of those types of ads. So collecting leads is the offer. Use what you've got to get their information. As far as targeting and placement, that's at the ad set level. I think my biggest point here that I try to get through to everybody is you don't need Advantage Plus. Facebook does not know more about your target audience than you do. They do have more information about us all, but when in doubt, go broad. You can get more specific at the ad level and allow people to self-identify there. But when you go broad with your most basic, targeting, so by go broad, I mean, if you have something specific, if you're in HVAC and you only target a specific service area, use that geography, right? If you only want homeowners, it's okay to pick homeowners, but definitely pick people in the right age group, right? You want people who are 30 to 65 plus probably, or, that's your age group. So only select the things in the targeting that you absolutely, for a fact, know you want. Rely on your ad to get people to self-identify and be more specific. And then so as far as the
Let me
ad
just jump in there
goes,
real quick just to
yeah.
make sure everyone's catching this. When you say rely on your ad, you're saying make sure like the image and the ad text has things that are indicative of your target audience, right?
Exactly, exactly. So you want people to see your ad and you want them to immediately stop and know that it's applicable to them. One great example that everybody understands because it's not industry specific is birds. I love birds. So I'm a birder and if I say like I'm officially middle-aged, but if I see something bird related on my feed, then I know that's for me and I'm going to stop and I'm going to give it my 10 seconds to read it to see whether I want to pursue it, right? So I want my ad, if I'm doing a birding guide, then I don't necessarily want, even if I'm selling binoculars, right? I want a bird in my ad so that birders know, right? And I want a separate ad. If I'm targeting my binoculars for birders, I want a bird in my ad. If I'm targeting my binoculars, for weirdos who like to spy on people, I want a totally different ad. So make your ad hyper specific and leave your audience, your targeting a little more broad. That way, you don't miss anybody. And then a secondary advantage, which Mike was talking about referrals, the secondary advantage to doing it that way and keeping your target audience pretty broad, keeping your ad really specific, is that if my husband or my mom or, anybody in my bird group that I pay $15 a month to be a part of sees an ad about birding that they think I would be interested in, they're going to forward it along, right? They're going to send it to me in a message. They're going to tag me in a comment underneath, all which helps increase the reach of your ad to the right people. So if you just pick people who follow, Audubon.com, you'll get the birders, but you won't get the birders' moms or the birders' husbands or the people who buy presents for the birders or the birding groups in your area. So there's some really big advantages to going broader at that targeting level and using your ad to be hyper specific.
It's great. Everyone put in the chat bar one big lesson you're taking away right now. There's been a ton of insight so far, and I hope you guys are picking up on some of it. Throw in a takeaway, and I'll just reflect back to what Lacey's saying. We also found, taking her, we literally just listened to her and did what she said, and that changed the game for us in how we, who is showing up in our ads. Who's showing up as a result of our ads. And I'll just tell you guys how it was working for us. The people we were working with before, the people we had hired before, were targeting like CEOs, entrepreneurs, and then they were using Facebook's Advantage Plus as kind of like this. So Facebook's like just trying to find the right people using their Advantage Plus thing. This kind of like targeting algorithm or targeting software that they have, and we were not getting great people, and our ads were generic. And so we weren't getting the right fit people. And so what we did is literally what Lacey said, we shut down Advantage Plus. Then we built an ad in which Mike wrote, it was from Mike's perspective, and he's like, "Hey, electrician, I get where you are right now. I was in that hole. I was crawling through the dusty attic." And then we put a picture of Mike back in the day when he had like his big afro and he was wearing his work coat and he was deep in a hole doing some kind of electrician type of work. And we put that, and that ad crushed it. It was amazing. And it was exactly what Lacey is saying. It was the text and the image both had the things that would catch the eye of our audience, that told Facebook who our audience is, and we weren't using Advantage Plus. And don't just target one audience. Yeah. Referrals are also important. I love that. Great insight. It's not just the one tier you're doing, but kind of like this larger tier as well, right? The people that are important to the people you're targeting. Good. Okay. Thank you for putting in your insight there. I'd love to know too. One more question I want to ask people, because this could shape the conversation a bit. Is those of you who are running Meta ads, what is your offer? Now, I know you might be doing lots of different offers, but is it a lead magnet? Is it like, I don't know, like click to buy a thing? You know what I mean? Like they might click to schedule an appointment or click to purchase a new HVAC system or something. Like, give me a quick little one sentence of what your ad is pointing to, just so that we know, like, if it's leads, that's helpful. Click to buy something. Okay. All right. Yeah, click for a demo, leads. Lacey, can you give us what's a couple of lead magnets you're seeing that are working really well right now?
Yeah, free books are always great. So if you've got a free book or a variation of a book, like a guide, a workbook, we have a entrepreneur success guide over in Norway that's working really well for small business owners. So I think that it's the thing that's already in your library of resources that is most valued by your current most ideal clients. But I will say that, click to buy, absolutely, you can make that work. But you will also probably get the click to buy people if you do a lead magnet first, right? It's a much lower barrier of entry than actually wanting to purchase something. It catches people further upstream, which is this is something that Dean Jackson, has just gotten down to an art and a science, but it catches people a little further upstream. And so you want to create the lead magnet, which is the guide, the book, the worksheet, the case study, the downloadable item, right? But you want to do it based on what is most valuable to your current ideal client, right? What is that person? How did they come to you? And what were the questions that they ask you? Design your lead magnet to, regardless of what it is, to answer those questions and to focus on that. So another great example is a catalog. So if you have something where you're selling windows, doors, garage doors, fences, garage accessories, organization, blinds, then a catalog is a very low barrier of entry for folks. They just want to see what their options are. Maybe they're in the initial processes of planning, with which if you're doing a major home improvement project, that's very, very popular. You want to see what your options are before you even call the first contractor or, ask for the first real piece of a quote, right? So a catalog is another really great tool to use for that.
Yeah, that's great. Good insight there. Let me see. I'm just scrolling through. We got lead magnet, we got brand awareness. For me, everyone, if you guys don't know what you're doing for lead magnets, it would be great for you to maybe bring that as a question to Momentum Lab this afternoon or in the future. We can talk about it. I'm a big fan of coming up with different lead magnets. I've always seen really great success with checklists. Excuse me, because in my mind, we want to give someone a lead magnet that delivers a specific fast benefit. And the checklist is really, really quick. It's easy for you to build. It's easy for them to consume. And so I've seen a lot of success there in a B2B environment when I was doing more like B2B type of marketing to other business owners. I saw a lot of success with like a toolkit, like a list of tools that top, like when I was doing real estate investing, there's a list of tools that top real estate investors are using. And, hint, my own service was on at least one of the items on the checklist. So checklist, it is so easy to do. And at Food Dog, we did the Profit Power Playbook. We were using that more broadly. It was successful, just wasn't successful for our right audience. So we're rebranding it for a more accurate audience for us. So we still plan to do checklists. And checklists still work for homeowners too. I just mentioned the B2B one because that's where I've had the most consistent success over the years. But in for homeowners or for whoever you guys, car owners, Ben and Jeff, like mattress buyers, like there's a checklist opportunity there for you guys as well. I'm curious. Before I move on from the type of ad, I wouldn't mind talking about the buyer ad for a second. Jenna, you're a guest here. I appreciate you, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'd love for you to unmute. And if you're open to sharing, what is the thing that people are buying? And everyone pay attention here, because even if you're not selling the same thing that Jenna is selling, some of you it may make sense to have a buyer type of ad. So Jenna, what is it that you're selling if you're open to sharing that?
Yeah, so we represent this startup called Presidents for Kids at my company. So it's actually children's books that I'm selling. So they're just focused on all the presidents. So most of our ads basically highlight our product and then have the offer like, 20% off our 4-book set. Call to action, shop now. And it's more that, and it's going straight to the site, straight to the product where you can buy it. So that's
cool.
That's it.
Hey, that's awesome. Thanks. And team,
Yeah,
you can unshare Jenna. I just wanted to kind of pick on an example of there's probably a few people on here that have some kind of buyer style ad that they are running or they're thinking about running. It could be something for like HVAC. I know we got like a amazing mattress store on here. I'm not even sure who else might be running something, but we got auto mechanics. So I'm not sure if there's like a book of service, that type of thing. But Lacey, if I really love what you said about using leads instead of a sale, that makes a lot of sense to me. But if someone here is going to run a buyer type of ad, do you have any recommendations or tips for them?
Yeah, I think that it's time to maybe get away from like the squeeze page, right? I think that the emphasis here is the same as the emphasis with any lead magnet. tell them what you're going to give them and then give that to them, right? Let's not make it beat around the bush. Let's not send them to a page necessarily. And, Jenna can talk to us a little more about what's working for her. But I think the point is to make the offer clear and then provide them with that information, right? The books are great on buyer ads. They're just like a lead magnet. It's basically you're the only thing that might be better than a regular book is a free book, right? So,
Right.
so I think that that's a fantastic thing to advertise as a first step for buying. But I think that the key is always when you advertise it, you take them directly to and you tell them what the price is right up front, right? You take them to the product page, they see the price, they see the savings, everything is super clear and everything matches what was in the ad. It's not some sort of bait and switch. Like, I don't need to see a 10-minute video in all the president's books and then get an advertisement to collect all of them for this price when the ad was for one book or was from, 4 books for the price of 3 or whatever the case was. So being very direct and making sure that it doesn't feel like a bait and switch is really probably the biggest key to advertising with Buy Now.
That's great. And actually I find that to be true for other things too. That match between what your ad is promising and then what you say on the landing page. There have been times that we've screwed that up as well. So great insight.
Yeah, I mean, just tell them what you want to know,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're saying
Right.
buy my franchise now or buy my book now, people want to know the same information. How much does it
Yeah.
cost? How fast can I get it? Right? And what does the actual product look like? Right? So if it's a
No.
book, then a peek inside is a valuable, valuable tool, or
Yeah, that's
showing
good.
just some images of the different pages. If it's people that we sold our old water heater that was perfectly fine. We just needed to move it to another room and needed a different kind on Facebook Marketplace. And it's all the same questions, right? They want a picture of all the sides. They want to see like the date that it was purchased. They want to see the date that it was made and the date that everything expired. They want to see the gallons so just making sure that all of the information that people want to know about your product is right there up front, because what people are worried about is disqualifying people, right? Oh, if they see how much it costs and I don't get to explain it, then they're just going to click away. Well, maybe, but you're probably disqualifying the right people, because if they see $25,000 for a franchise and that's way out of their budget, then that's way out of their budget, whether it's 25,000
Right.
or 30,000, right? So I would put aside that fear of missing out on certain clients by providing all of the information up front, because if you don't do it now, you're just going to have to do it later, and with every step in the process you're going to lose more people who would have been interested had they not had they had the information up front.
Really good. But I would say for everyone here, please consider doing lead type of ads if you can, if it works for you, if you can. If you're not sure how to do it, maybe jump on a call, jump on Momentum Lab, and we can talk about it, because I do agree with what Lacey said earlier. Like lead ads perform really well, and what I like too is that often those buyer type of ads, like you're only getting the people who are ready to buy now. They have money in their bank account and they're like they're a little curious. Maybe they need to be tipped over the edge, or they're already ready to buy. But with a lead magnet, then you're getting people who may buy in the future, and you can nurture them, build a relationship with them. So that's at least my theory. I'm a big fan of that.
Well, and you
So
have access to them. If you've got their email and their contact
right,
information, then you can also email them that ad, right? The
exactly.
buy now
Yeah,
ad.
yeah,
So you can do it
yeah.
both ways. I will say one example I was thinking about, like winterization, because it's getting really cold here, for home services providers, for like a buy now ad might be something like winterization or a check. And just recently I had a frustrating experience where I did see an ad for a home services. It's actually for like insulation in my attic. And they said that they were running a special, right? It was 50% off. It was 50% off of what? So the next step was to sign up for the quote, right? To come, they didn't give me any product information. And that's a
Yeah.
difficult thing probably to give online, which is where maybe an attic insulation guide would be a better option, right? If you
Yeah.
cannot accurately give some sort of basic information, and it does feel like a bait and switch at the end. Whereas, like if you were advertising winterization for $79, you need to be ready to commit to it being $79, even if you get there and their HVAC is 40 years old and really just needs to be replaced, right?
Yeah.
You're still going to do the $79 winterization. We'll take it from there. So that was just an example that I thought about while you were talking there.
Super good. All right, so we've been talking about like what are ads, how to like kind of how to set them up, thinking about your ads in three pieces like the offer, the targeting, and the ad itself. We've given you some amazing tips. Let's go now, Lacey, into the next kind of my last question before we open it up for questions here. My next question is, okay, they've gathered the pieces together, they've built their offer, they've built their ad. Now they go into, business.facebook.com. They've got an ad manager. They set up their first ad. They hit publish, and they're watching it happen. How do you ramp up your ad from there? What are the things you're paying attention to? How do you make it better? How do you like make sure you're not letting your costs go crazy? How do you ramp it up?
Yeah, so that's a great question. The definition of success for Facebook advertising is going to be a little bit different for everybody, right? I think one of the most important points is you have to factor in your actual conversion rate, not just your leads. So you can't just take the information that Facebook is going to provide for you and use that as your sole data source. You need to take it a step further and see once these people get into your universe and once you have access to them, who is converting and how are they converting? Are they converting because you sent them a weekly email 6 weeks later? Are they converting right away? You need to factor in the end result, not just the data that Facebook gives you. Now, that said, obviously, you want to look at things like cost per lead, or cost per conversion. However, whatever, ads that you've defined, that you've chosen, make sure that your cost is low. But that also is going to be very different. How much I am willing to pay for a marketing consulting client is going to be far different than how much you're willing to pay for an HVAC client, or, Jenna's willing to pay for somebody who's going to buy a book, right? So the value of your customer is important to know, and how much you would happily pay, as Dean would say, for a client, that's where you want to get to. So, and I've got folks who are very, very happy with $1.50 per, consulting lead, or, per lead in general. And I've got folks that are really, really happy with $25 per lead. So make sure that, you've defined that for yourself. And then the second point I'd love to make is that you really do need to take a look at your reporting, before you start tweaking and testing things, right? You need to go look at your reports and look where your ads are being placed and what the results of that are. So if they are placing your ads into messages and you're getting no results from messaging, then it's fine to remove that placement. And then that little bit of budget will go back towards where your ad is actually being responded to and engaged with, right? So use those reports to go back and see and tweak and test. And you can see, age, you can tweak your audience as well. So you can see the type of people by demographics that are clicking on each ad and each on Facebook, on Instagram. And that might mean that you're going to go in and, tweak your targeting to be women only. If it's, if only women are clicking on the ad to buy the books, well, let's show the ad to women only, right? And let's keep the men out of it. And then let's get that portion of the budget into the right place. So use those reports, dig into those reports, and use that to further tweak your ad, to make sure that you're using all of your budget effectively. And then I guess the final point is don't compete with yourself. One ad at a time is plenty. If you're targeting the same demographic and the same geography, then if you're running multiple ads, if you're not very careful about your targeting, you're going to be competing with yourself. So, one ad at a time is okay. If you want to run one, brand awareness ad and one, lead ad at the same time, that's probably okay. But again, you have to really be careful that when you start running those ads, you're not taking away from the other offer, that you're also running.
Yeah, great insight. And everyone, don't forget to put in your questions. I'll be going to questions here in a moment. And while you're writing them in, I'll just echo what Lacey's saying, because we found that ourselves. Food Dog is far from perfect. And we were running ads to our December 3rd boardroom, the one we had yesterday, virtual boardroom, 90 minutes for electricians, plumbers, and HVAC contractors anywhere in the US. We're also running an ad for our December 9th boardroom, the one in person in Seaside Park, and kind of running it to a group of people in New Jersey and surrounding area. And so for the most part, we didn't have an issue, but there were a couple of people who would message us and they're like, am I coming? I saw the December 9th ad and I signed up for it, but then I just saw you were doing a December 3rd one. Which one am I coming to? And they got confused. And they hadn't signed up for the December 3rd one. They just saw two ads. And so, it is tricky sometimes. In our case, we got these two things happening, and we're just kind of, I'm sure there's a way to do it that we aren't aware, but good insight there, Lacey. Let me see. There's one other thing I was going to say here too. Getting back to the thing you were saying about how much are you willing to spend? This was a huge question. We heard it from Jay Abraham. He's talked to us about it, I think, to everyone here on a call. We've heard it from Dean. Lacey, I've heard it from you. How much are you willing to spend for a customer? I find a lot of people are saying, how much am I willing to spend for an ad? Oh, I don't want to spend more than, they see a price. They're like, oh, I don't want to spend more than $10 for an ad. Someone clicks my ad and it's $10 every time I click. That seems too expensive. You need to, in your mind, divorce the price of a click with how much are you willing to spend for a customer? Because, if you have, let's say, I'm going to use real simple math here, that is, just very broad, but let's say you have 10 people clicking $10 each. You're spending $100 to get 10 people clicking. One of those people become a customer, and that customer spends $100,000 with you over the lifetime. Well, yeah, I'd gladly spend what was that, $100 for those 10 attempts, those 10 clicks, to get a $100,000 customer. So don't just focus on the cost of a click, focus on what it means for you in your business. So knowing the lifetime value of a customer is transformative in how you can evaluate the success of your ads. Does that make sense, Lacey, what I'm trying to explain there?
Yeah, it does. I think that the key words to remember are best value. You want the best value for your budget, not the cheapest. I think that, if you've been in this world for long enough, which you have, Aaron, so I'm sure it's been ingrained into you that like you should be paying pennies a lead, right? But that's not
Right.
necessarily the case.
Yeah.
We want the right leads, and the right leads are not pennies a lead. The Advantage Plus leads can be pennies a lead. And occasionally we do get pennies per lead still, but you want the right leads. And that's why it's so important to know your off Facebook numbers, right? To track them through your CRM or whatever you're using to move the person from prospect to actual client or customer. You need to pay attention there and have that information in mind too. And it can be anecdotal. It doesn't have to be, spreadsheets and spreadsheets worth of data. Because if you're paying attention, you're going to start to notice, oh, well, this guy who just signed up came from Facebook. And you might get a bunch of electricians to sign up because that ad is really working. But why are all the electricians signing up but not the plumbers, right? And that prompts you to go back in and really look at that data and see what the difference is between the two and how maybe you can tweak the one ad to use different messaging or different creative to make it better. So, starting with the anecdotal data that you're experiencing every day, if you're working in your own business and talking to these leads and these prospects, is a great place to start. Because if you try to start with the Facebook spreadsheet, you're really looking at a lot of data that doesn't tell you anything until you have some context.
Great insight. All right, we're getting some questions in. So I'm going to just moderate it. Everyone, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. Dave Monk, thank you for sending me a whole bunch of questions. I'll do my best to get through them. So Dave has a few questions. One he posted publicly, and then the other ones he just posted privately that I'll just share. So Lacey, Dave is asking, can you talk about Facebook versus Instagram and stories versus posts? What, how should someone decide to use those?
Yeah, it's targeting. And honestly, you can start with all of those. I would say that the one things I would remove would be like the messaging and potentially marketplace. And I would always remove third party, but I would keep it in all of the feeds and all of the reels and all of the video options for all of my audiences until you run it for a period of time and then go back and look at your reporting and say, oh, you know what, for HVAC, nobody on Instagram, they're looking for, TikTok dances and like, babies who say curse words or something. They're not looking for HVAC. But on Facebook, I'm getting a lot better results. So it's very specific to your industry and to your audience. If we wanted to really broad stroke it, then Instagram is kind of a younger audience typically. And Facebook is more of an established kind of boomer, maybe elder millennial audience and up. But I wouldn't be confident about that without testing it first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And that's such a great insight, everyone. If you haven't written down any tips yet, any strategies yet, write down, test it. That's so
Yeah, when in
important.
doubt, go broad, and you can
Yeah,
always be more specific later.
right, exactly. All right, the next question from Sarah, who works with Jim and Amy Pierce. She says, if I have an ad that is running for a lead magnet for a free book, and I have an hang on, my chat's just scrolled. I love the questions, you guys. Great job. Keep it up. Let me just scroll back up. Sorry about that. I'll try again. Okay, if I have an ad running for a lead magnet for a free book, and have another offer for, say, a service, how would you make sure that the ads aren't competing with each other? Is there a way to like keep them from competing?
Yeah, so I consider geography my kind of neutral variable, right? So I would always run, if you're running it in the entire United States of America, you'd always vary the geography. If I'm only running it for one county, I can do the west side of the county here with these zip codes and the east side of the county here with these zip codes and alternate them. Geography is my main strategy there. The other thing I'll say is if you have one ad and it's performing really well, typically the lead magnet ad, you can always offer and we talked about this with you guys specifically, you can always offer the service as the next step in the process versus and you can do it right away, right? Once they sign up and give you their information, you can immediately redirect them to that offer. So it's okay to pick one and the one that's working better and use that really broadly and then layer the other offer on top of it as opposed to running them simultaneously against each other.
That's good. And Sarah, that is what we're doing at Food Dog. Just so you know, we used to be running 3 ads to 3 different things. There was a Profit Power Playbook ebook, there was a scorecard, and there was a product, like a $67 product. And we were finding like some were working well and some weren't. And we were exploring why. And Lacey gave us the strategy of what we're doing now, which is Profit Power Playbook for electricians is the free lead magnet ad. And then they get that, they download it, and on the thank you page is, hey, step 2, which I love step 2, everyone. Step 2, people feel like they need to do the next step. So step 2 is a strategy I would recommend for you. But step 2, which is on the thank you page of the Profit Power Playbook, is step 2, fill out the scorecard. And so people are like, oh, this is the next step in the process. Okay, I'll fill out the scorecard. And then step 3, which is on the thank you page of the scorecard. Step 3, hey, why not get the business whatever the business growth system product? So we've got that as ours, taking exactly what Lacey just said. Free lead magnet on the front end, the offers stacking after within the same to the same people. Good. All right, continuing on here with questions. We got a question from Matt, who's asking, what would be a good base budget just to start like presence in meta marketing?
Yeah, great question. So we actually like to, when I say we, if Dean and I and our clients that we work with, we like to front end load because I think I saw another question popped up about like the amount of time you spent learning. Facebook ads start in learning mode, but we like to really front end load our ads to give Facebook kind of a bump in that learning so it learns more quickly. So $50 a day, $100 a day are typical choices depending on, what our per kind of lead estimate is. If we were looking for $10 a lead, we're probably going to start at $100 a day. If we're looking for $1.50 a lead, we're going to start at $50 a day. So you can base it on that. But we do like to front end load those ads when we first start running them, just to accelerate that learning process. And from there, you can actually back off of that budget to be more sustainable, either with your marketing budget in general or with the number of leads that you can, reasonably kind of execute the rest of the process in a day, right? So if we have a single consultant, she doesn't want to have, 50 leads a day, that she's got a very specific follow-up sequence. She would rather have a few leads a day so she can really focus on that very specific personalized follow-up sequence that we've developed, and that's more sustainable for her over time. So again, very specific to you, but those are our suggestions for most verticals from the start.
That's great. I found when I was doing some ads back in my real estate investing days that I or my clients were, we only wanted to spend a little bit of money on the front end because we don't want to waste our money. And then we're like, when the ad works, then we'll invest. But what changed for me was thinking, no, I want to spend exactly what you said, Lacey, like spend a bunch of money on the front end, because you're paying for your education, and trickling it out at a couple bucks a day or whatever, it just prolongs your education. It doesn't
Yeah, if you're
actually get
very
your
patient, then that's a
yeah,
great strategy.
yeah,
But I have
that's right.
found that most entrepreneurs are not very patient.
That's right.
So
I would
if
rather
you want
throw
to,
a
yeah,
bunch of
if
money
you want
and
to cheat the system a little
learn.
bit, this is the
Yeah.
way. This is the way you do it.
Now I'll tell you guys what we did do at Food Dog, because we had a brand new account. You guys may remember we had a whole bunch of money embezzled from us. Someone like hacked hacked our Amex or whatever. I don't know exactly. And then so it affected our Facebook account, so we shut it down. And then we set a new account. So Facebook was very like, they're not letting us spend very much money, right? But we earned their trust over time. And so I don't remember the exact numbers, but just to give you guys some example numbers, Facebook would let us spend something like $50 a day. So we just did that for a little bit until Facebook's like, okay, where you're paying your bills and you're running ads and you guys are a legit company, you can do $75 a day or whatever it was, right? And then you can do $90 a day. So every time I go in and I check every day, whenever they let me do it, I bump it up. And now we're running hundreds of dollars per ad every day. But I had to work up to it, and I just had to earn the trust and that kind of thing. So you're playing this game of education, but then also earning that trust if you guys don't have that longevity on Meta. Good, great. We're gonna keep going here on questions. I know I said I was gonna let you go at 10 to, but the questions are coming in and they're getting great insight. So let's keep going. Although I do have a call at the top of the hour, so I do have a hard stop here. Lacey, Jenna asked, is there a timeline for how long you should keep an ad running? Is there a time when it maybe gets old and stale and you should filter it out with new creative, or is there more of a don't fix what isn't broken situation?
Yeah, both. Great question. You do have to be prepared for what Facebook calls creative fatigue. So if your audience is specific enough, then you'll get to the point where you're going to show your audience your ad multiple times, right? So the number of times, the frequency is how Facebook refers to it, Meta refers to it, but the number of times your ad is seen by the same person is the frequency. So it could be, one, it could be two. Once you get anywhere between probably 1.5 and 3, your ad will probably flag you. It'll throw up a flag and say creative fatigue. In that case, the only thing that I change is the actual imagery or video on the ad, whatever the visual is. Nobody reads. The people who do are fantastic, but they're not fatigued by your text. So I just typically, when I create an ad and it starts doing really well, I'll go ahead and create some alternative images or videos and have those in the background. And it really is more of a trigger for Facebook to keep running your ad than it is actual creative fatigue from people seeing it. So it could be just changing a background color. If you're doing a free book, it could be changing the book's on a table. Now the book is on a coffee table, or the book is somebody's holding the book, or just the act of swapping out that graphic for another graphic is going to reinvigorate the ad from Meta's perspective, and it's going to start showing again, knowing that you've done it. The other trick there is, if you do have an ad that hits creative fatigue, you can always duplicate that ad and send it to the exact same audience, and then Facebook treats it as a brand new ad. And that sometimes will get you the results that you want if you just don't want to change your creative for some very specific reason.
Awesome. Great. Wow. Great insight here. And then let's get back to, I think it was kind of answered, but I just want to ask it in case it wasn't. What's the typical learning time frame before you ramp up a budget? How long would you let it go to learn?
Yeah, but we give it a week. Typically, we want it to learn for a week. Facebook will indicate that it's in learning mode, and it will flag you if there's not enough budget to get out of learning mode, for example, or if your audience is too specific, then it won't get out of. It's called learning limited. It'll tell you that your ad is learning limited. So if that's the case, then typically what I find is that your budget is too low, or your audience is far too specific and you need to broaden up your audience and kind of fix your ad. But we do give everything at least a week. And then if we make tweaks, we'll add a few days here and there incrementally to test the new creative or the new headline or, whatever variable we changed out. So a week initially and then a few days for each variable shift at least.
Okay, awesome. Wow, we got through the questions, Lacey. There's so much insight, so much strategy. I got a bunch of notes here for myself that I'm like, oh, we should do that. We got to do that better too. So thank you so much, and everyone, do me a favor for Lacey. Put a big boom, a big food dog boom in the chat bar. Let her know that she served you guys with great insight. Yeah, really good, awesome. Thank you, Lacey. You can stick around for the next couple of minutes, or you can bounce if you need to. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
for
my pleasure.
sharing.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
it was great. It was really, really good. Everyone, I'd love to know in the last couple of minutes, what is one action step or one big takeaway that you are pulling out of this session? Because I got so much out of here just in the few minutes that we had together, and I've met with Lacey like one-on-one like 3 times already. So what's the one big action step you guys are taking? Even if it's just like, I got to get into meta ads, right? I got to stop thinking about it and actually start doing it. Or if you are doing it, what's your one big action step? New lead magnets. Awesome. Yeah. And for those of you who aren't sure, you're like, I don't know what to do. What should I do about a lead magnet? What should I do for an offer? Is this a good offer? Why aren't my ads working? Bring those things to Momentum Lab. Those are perfect questions to be asking on Momentum Lab. Dave says stacking offers after a free lead magnet. I think it's so effective. Need to reconcile better now with our marketing agency. Oh man, yeah, I hear that for sure. Watch for creative fatigue and utilize lead magnets. Just pay attention to the numbers, right? I go into our meta ads every day and I'm looking at the numbers. And guess what? The first couple times I did it, I was clueless, but I do it every day. It takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. And every day I get a little bit smarter, a little bit better. Next step after lead offer. Perfect. Awesome, you guys. All right. This is really good. Love seeing these things. Again, bring your questions, your meta questions to Momentum Lab. And maybe it's just like, Aaron, what is the offer we should do? I don't even know. That's a great question for Momentum Lab. So bring those. We got Momentum Lab coming up in a couple hours here. Cool. Awesome. Well, you guys, I have another call I have to get to. So I'm going to wrap this up here. Don't forget that we have Life Power next week, December 11th and 12th. That is instead of this call and instead of Momentum Lab, it happens on, I think, whatever the 11th and 12th is. So it's overlapping this call. Come to it. We're talking about how to build the best year ever and your best life after. So it is the call to come to if you want to do any planning for 2026 and beyond. Life Power, December 11th and 12th. It is the thing to attend. Awesome, you guys. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day. I don't have music to roll you out, so keep crushing it. And let's see what you guys are doing in meta ads. Report back. Let us know your success, and we will see you we'll see you next week on Life Power. All right. Boom. All right. Thanks, Lacey. That was really amazing. I'm going to stop recording this.